Welcome, everybody. My name is Janelle Van. I'm down here in Tampa, Florida, and today's class is Fast, Smart, Customizable RPR's Dynamic Client Reports. This is one of 12 different classes that we offer each and every month as part of the RPR webinar series. But shout out to Candy for getting this together and Umberto for helping us along with bring this specifically to your location. So we're very excited to be here. I have a couple of great demo areas in mind. If you have an opportunity to pop in the chat where you're practicing real estate, maybe I'll be able to demo that particular zip code as well. But our agenda looks a little like this. We're going to use our reports for real world scenarios. We're going to take and practice what we have access to, and we're going to help our buyers understand the market that they're purchasing in. We're going to look at the opportunities that you have for sellers in terms of the CMAs, all kinds of market trend reports, market activity reports. We're going to cover a lot in an hour. So we've got a really good agenda set for you. We're going to also talk about customization, all of the reports that you can create in RPR. You can customize. And what does that mean? You can add your own photos. You can add your own pages. You can remove some of our pages. We give you a lot of data, and maybe you don't want all of that rich data. You can go ahead and kind of condense it and customize it and then save it as your own templates. We're going to work on customization, reordering different sections of our reports. Really, my primary goal, though, today is use case scenarios. What are we going to do with these reports? How are we going to use these reports to grow our business? How are we going to use these reports to properly represent our buyers and sellers? So once we get done creating a few reports, I'm going to show you how you can easily preview, share, and update. And I'm probably going to start off with my social media platform, showing you kind of the finished product of what these reports are going to look like after we generate them, customize them, and then share them. So lots of fun stuff planned for you today. Before we get started, I just want to point out that RPR is Realtors Property Resource. We are a national database of both residential and commercial properties, and it's really a one-stop platform for all of your research needs. So let's say, for instance, I've got Dawn in Northwest Louisiana. She's getting ready to show property, and her buyer is excited. They want to know more about the house, the neighborhood, the market, the school. All of that information is accessible on RPR. So before the buyer leaves the property, she could literally answer all of those questions with her client while they're still excited about that property. Same thing for a listing appointment. If you're going on a listing appointment, you can access historical listing data, public record information, taxes, neighborhood info, school data, traffic counts if it's on a busy road, flood zones if that's something that you're dealing with up there. I know in the Florida market, flood zones have become a major impact on our real estate market. So it's important to be able to access that. And you can actually do that right here on our site and show the FEMA flood maps on the RPR maps. So RPR was built exclusively for realtors. There's no consumer access. So buyers and sellers are not going to be on RPR doing their research. It's all for you. And then you get to decide what you want to share with your clients. There's no additional charge. There's no ads. I love that. There's no pop-ups. Nothing's grayed out asking us to upgrade our membership. Everything I show you today is completely included as part of your NAR membership. Okay, so I'm going to give another quick shout out to the RPR mobile app because I'm a huge advocate. We're on our phones. We might as well put them to work for us. So I'm going to go off camera and just give a shout out to my top 3 to 4 favorite things that you can access on the mobile app. First of all, most important is property searches. So if you're working with a buyer, you can search for the properties. You can create a buyer's tour. So I'm going to stick with Dawn. She's out there getting ready to show property this weekend. She creates a buyer's tour for her clients, showing them all of the properties that she's planning on showing in the order that she's going to show them. And that buyer's tour, you can airdrop, you can text it, you can email it. But most importantly, included in the buyer's tour is a feedback form. So it's a great way for you to start connecting and sharing information with your buyer and really kind of getting into the psychological aspect of what they're looking for, what their priorities are, and it really opens the communication. And maybe there's something you want to take off your buyer's tour because they're just not interested in it. So that is one of my favorite things. The buyer's tour is only accessible from the RPR mobile app at this time. The other really cool thing that I like, we're talking about reports today. I'm going to sprinkle in a little bit of AI resources that we can share. All of that can be accessed from the desktop. So whatever report we're looking at today, we can also access on the mobile app. So think about that. If you're doing an open house this weekend, rather than generating, printing paper flyers that are going to end up in someone's back seat, maybe you have them on your mobile app. And then as buyers are touring your property, you share them through a text or an airdrop. So you kind of are capturing some of those leads and just using your tech to create some better client engagement. And then finally, my favorite thing to talk about on mobile is the brand new AI CMA. So you could create a CMA for both buyers and sellers right from the mobile app. So again, we've got a buyer excited about the property, but they need more info. They need a CMA, just like a seller would. You can craft a CMA, share it quickly while you're still touring the property, and you still have complete control of that CMA, which means you can add your own comparables, you can remove some of the comps. But the AI CMA is actually going to give a score or a rating to the comparables that it pulls in. And it really does explain why the comparable is so important. And it also is going to give you some guidance in terms of offer prices and suggested list price. So I know I always think of AI as an adventure. You have to kind of read what's going in there, but also you want to have complete control of the ultimate finished CMA product. So a couple of screen grabs on the mobile. You can see over to the right, we're going to jump into our AI scriptwriter tools here a little bit in class. We do have an entirely different class dedicated to both of our market trends and our scriptwriter tools. But I am going to show you a couple of these different options because if you're looking to do a direct mail campaign, your market trends article, that is going to give you the opportunity to create a newsletter, maybe a BuzzFeed article. Different types of articles can be used for either online marketing or direct mail. And why we say Market Trends AI scriptwriter is because they are aligned with market trends. Now, I want to point out with our market trends, you can access market trends nationwide. So let's say Dawn Wallace is in my class today and she's got a listing and that seller is relocating. They're leaving Louisiana and maybe they're headed to Tampa, Florida. She could go in to RPR and research the market trend data, including median price per square foot, days on market, medium sold price. She could actually inform her client as to what all of that information means to the market that they're moving to. And that gives her the opportunity to maybe grab that referral. So I would really strongly encourage you to really take advantage of the market trends, not only for your location, but whenever you've got a seller that's relocating, use this data to kind of share with them that you know the market in other parts of the country and then maybe grab that referral. Now, anytime you're on the mobile app, you're going to see the little AI icon. That is going to take you to all of the AI tools that we have access to on RPR. Okay, so let's go ahead and bring up our homepage. Do I have any questions, Jack or Umberto? Let me know.
I think so far so good.
So far, so good. Anybody else, Candy? Do you have anything you want to add?
I'm good. I'm following along and learning, so I'm excited.
Okay, fantastic. Okay, so first things first, we're on our RPR homepage. Now, if you're following along on the mobile app, you're going to get lost, confused, frustrated because they are two different interfaces. They look completely different. However, the data and the functions are the same, but try not to follow along from the mobile app. In fact, try not to follow along at all. Just sit back, maybe watch the presentation, and then remember, we have recorded this so you can always access it after today's class. So always make sure when you log into RPR that you see your broker's logo. If you do not see the broker's logo on your homepage, that means when you get to the part of our class where we're creating reports over here on the right, all of these reports that you see on your screen have a cover letter, and that cover letter is going to have your branding. So if in order for the brokerage logo to appear, the broker needs to just fill out a few things, doesn't cost them any money, and it only takes about 10 minutes to get that brokerage logo on the cover letter of all of your RPR reports. Now, our logo's fine, we like it, but we really want it to be really branded with your own personal information. Now, for my realtors over on the top right, make sure you click on that drop down arrow, always take step one, click on your profile, because again, this is all of the information that will appear on the cover letter of your reports. And it's not just the reports. We're also going to talk about some social media templates, some videos that you can create. We want it all customized with your info. If you have designations, you can enter those in under your title. Make sure your phone, email addresses, websites, license number. You guys worked hard for that license number. Include that on the cover letter of all of your reports. Then we go ahead to the top, we click on save, and now we go home. Now, because this class is designed to help you with our reports, I'm going to start, as you would imagine, on Facebook. Now, I am going to take you to Facebook because I want to show you my demo account and just some of the things that I created this morning in preparation for our class. All of this that I'm getting ready to show you will take you less than 1 minute to create. So here's an example of a social media template with all of the Baton Rouge market trends, month supply of inventory, sold to list price percentage, the median days on market, and your median sold price. And you'll see when I get into our social media cards that you have many, many backgrounds to choose from. But the great thing about this is all you have to do is analyze your city, your county, or your zip code. Pick the template you like, and all of the data will auto-populate for you. You really don't have to do anything other than run the search and pick the style. And remember, when we're talking about broker branding, there's our logo. That's why it's important to get your broker logo uploaded. So if you don't see your brokerage logo, please reach out to Umberto and Jack anytime throughout today's class. They will share with you a link to make that happen. Okay, I want to show you a couple more cool things. This is a quick market trends AI caption that I generated for Baton Rouge this morning. The inventory is steady with a 3.81 month supply, offering plenty of options for your new home. Whether you're a first-time buyer or looking for an upgrade, I'm here to help you navigate the choices. So you may notice this 3.81 month supply of inventory aligns with the market trends on our template. So when we get into market trends, you have templates, you have captions, and then we're going to talk about reports. So our reports are going to include a link. When I click on a link, it's going to take a few moments to finish building the report, but every one of our reports that we have access to is going to come with that dynamic link. Now, here's a report I made this morning for 70810, and it's going to be customizable. Again, we want the broker logo. It's a neighborhood report. I uploaded this pretty photo this morning. All my contact information is here. And then all of this great data will be included in the neighborhood report. This is just one of several reports we're going to make today. Just take a look though, in this neighborhood report, 70810, 33% of the people that live in that zip code are renting. So I'm going to show you how you can find in RPR the areas in your location with a high percentage of renters, because we have tools to help guide you find renters and convert them to become buyers. And it always is going to start with our high population in a zip code. And in this particular zip code, 33% is pretty high. So that's just another example of a report that we're going to create today. Here's another link to another report. I believe this is going to be our property flyer. So if you get a brand new listing and you don't know where to start with your property flyer. Look at how beautiful. I pulled this property listed for $820. I completely customized it with the photo. This is a actively listed property, Championship Drive. This is another example of our reports. This is a one-page flyer. You get to customize up to 5 photos, and every one of our reports you can easily share to social media. Now, when I say social media, I'm not just talking about Facebook. I'm not just talking about social media. I'm really talking about any online presence. So if you have your own website, if you have a blog and you want to create reports, you can share these anywhere that you like, and I'm going to show you how to do that. And then the final thing I want to show you, well, there's two. Here is an AI script. It's not necessarily a report, but it is an AI script that I generated specifically for the 70810 market trend in Baton Rouge as of February. And you can see it gives the top 5 housing market trends. And all I had to do was run this quick script, and then I posted it to social media. But remember, this is a great script for a newsletter. If you're doing direct mail, skip over the online. You can go ahead and put this in the mail. We even show you how to create a geographic farm list in RPR. And then the final thing I want to show you is our market trends. We can quickly and easily run a high level overview of the 70810 zip code. We can do this for any part of the country. And then we have a one-click share button that you could post maybe once a month. You could share this to your news feed. You could share this to your story. You could turn this into a postcard, whatever you want to do with it. But the big takeaway here is everything that I just showed you on this social media demo account you have access to, and you can customize and share wherever you would like. Okay, so that's kind of where we're headed. I wanted to kind of start from the finished product and kind of move in that direction. Let me stop and chat with Umberto and Jack. Are there any questions before we move on?
None thus far. I think our Q&A is, still welcoming messages. So if you have any questions about the presentation so far, be sure to add them in the Q&A.
Perfect.
It
Thank
looks
you
like
for that.
Lisa does have one question about can you customize by area and subdivision?
Yeah, you can. You'd have to
Yes.
be on your map. So really quickly, whenever we're looking at a map in RPR, I'll just click in here and I'll search for the whole map. Any map, and there's many, many different ways to access the maps in RPR. You could go ahead on the top left of your screen, you'll have 15 different geographical overlays. So cities, zip codes, big neighborhoods, small neighborhoods, school districts. Let's see if I click on cities. Sometimes it takes a few seconds to pop up. You could select multiple cities to search in. You could go ahead and unselect that guy. We could do the same thing with zip codes. They'll start to pop up. And if I'm creating a buyer search, I just pick the zip codes that wow, those are massive areas. And then I can begin searching in those zip codes. So you can customize a search by any one of these geographies. Just keep in mind, let's redo our search in this area. When we click on macro neighborhoods, that's usually going to be the big, large neighborhoods. And see, in this case, it didn't pop up. So I just got zip codes. We'll try maybe going with minor neighborhoods. Anytime you're on the map, you'll have all of those 15 geographical overlays. And if there isn't data if there isn't a neighborhood that's considered minor, we're going to have to go to the zip code level. And you can see the map kind of moving in and out and shifting as I make some adjustments. Okay, we're going to go home. Thank you for that question. I appreciate that, Lisa. Keep those questions coming. Now, when we go into our reports, this is where we're going to begin class today. Clicking on reports, we're going to start over on the left. My reports. These are reports that I have previously generated and saved. RPR templates. These are all of the templates that we've created for you, and you have complete control over the customization. And then once you've customized your templates, you save them as your own templates. Why would you do that? Well, let's say, for instance, you're a listing agent and you go on a lot of listing appointments. I sure hope so. Maybe you have a desire to customize a CMA and make it your own, make it exactly the way you want it to look every single time. And that could just mean it's going to include the data that you want to share with your seller. So you would create a CMA and then you'd save it as your own template. And then every time you wanted to access that template, just click on My Templates, takes you over to the left. And these are all of the templates that I've customized and made. Okay, so remember that with our Reports tab, My Templates are your saved templates that can be reused over and over again. These are the RPR templates, and these are the reports that I've generated. Now, if I click on RPR templates right there, first, before I do that, let me show you underneath residential templates, you'll see there are 9 residential templates and 3 commercial templates. Every one of these residential templates has a use case. For me, I'll give you a couple of my top picks. If I'm going on a listing appointment, obviously I'm going to bring a CMA. I'm going to bring a property flyer. I'm going to bring a neighborhood report and a school report, and I'm either going to bring a market activity or a market trend report. The reason why I like to use these residential templates on my listing appointment is for 2 reasons. One, it's a job interview and I want to surely educate them on the comps. I definitely want to have my CMA. But the other part of a listing presentation is my marketing strategy. What am I going to do to get this property sold? So if I'm sitting in front of a seller and I'm already going through the CMA with them, they're ready to hire me. I'm also going to show them that I'm going to present to buyers the neighborhood data, the school information. If my broker says that's okay, some brokers do not want you sharing school info. Follow the rules. Market activity, and of course, a property flyer to show all of my sellers the different reports that I'm going to use to market their home. I think that's pretty impressive. So if a buyer's walking through, they've never even been to this particular area, I can explain to them the neighborhood information, which is going to include things like the average age range of kids in a neighborhood, adults, what do they do for work? What is the commute like? What's the weather like? All of that great US Census data can be found in our neighborhood reports. Same thing with a school report. Not every seller knows what's going on in their local school district. We need to educate them because what? School info can have an impact on property values. And of course, if a buyer's touring a property and they have young kids, they may be wanting to learn more about the schools. So the school report, we're going to look at that. Market trends is again going to analyze all of that high level market trend data. Now, in order to preview all of the different pages that are included in your reports, click on your RPR templates right there. And then over to the right, you can see there's a preview option for every one of these reports. So I just mentioned the neighborhood report. Let's click preview. And then to the left, you're going to see all of this data that will be included in your neighborhood report. Okay, so we've got housing data, climate conditions, flood zones. You've got the ability to preview and then do a side-by-side or a page-by-page analysis of all of the different reports that you can create. So always step one, I encourage folks to take a look at the different report preview options. The big difference between a neighborhood report and a market trends and a market activity report, the neighborhood is more about the people that live there. What do they make for money? What do they do for a living? How old are they? And of course, the market trends is going to give more of the market rich data. And then the market activity report is really going to get very laser focused on new listings, pending, solds, and all of these reports are dynamic. So if you are using a market activity report and you're posting that on your website, every 48 hours, the link that is included with that report will auto refresh. So think about that. Instead of having to send out a new report once a week, you post the link and it will auto refresh every time somebody clicks on that link. And remember, over to the right, you click on preview and it's going to show you price changes, property details. So if you run a market activity report in your area and new listings come on the market or prices change, your clients or your sphere of influence are going to start to see that activity. Okay, so that's how we preview. Let's go back to our reports. Let's go home and go back over to reports. Now, I want to remind everybody that even though you can create reports from here, typically you're going to create your reports from either a subject property for a buyer, or you're going to create a report for a seller, or you're going to create reports from a geography. So while you can, let's say for instance, I want to go ahead and create a property report right here. If I select the location or that report, it doesn't know what property I'm looking at. So typically, you're going to create your reports from a property or a map. Again, if I click on neighborhood report here, it doesn't know what location I'm trying to create the report from. So even though I could enter in a zip code here, we got 70433. I could start my report from here in Covington, but I'm not going to do that. I'm going to just show you that as an option, but more commonly, you are going to be creating reports from a subject property. Okay, do I have any questions on reports? 9 residential, 3 commercial. I'll pause. How are we doing out there, guys?
I think we're so good. I don't see any questions, but lots of people sharing or asking to share the link with their brokers to enroll into the broker tools. Happy to share it with them. As long as you include their email in the chat, we can definitely share it with them.
Perfect. Okay, thank you for that. I just want to remind everybody too, we do offer 3 commercial reports. We have 2 classes dedicated to commercial, whether you're looking for on-market inventory or off-market, or you're trying to analyze commercial trade area data. We're not going to spend time on this today, but you do have the ability to access commercial reports as well. Okay, so we're going to start off creating some reports. And for that, what I'm going to do is I'm going to go down to my Baton Rouge. I'm going to start off on this zip code. Now, we could begin a property search right here under our location, but I'm going to do that, but I want to start off with my markets. So on your home page, you have the ability to create basically a hot sheet. This is showing you all of the inventory that has either come on the market or has changed in the last 10 days. So set up your My Markets. I was given 70433 earlier today, so I added that. And the way you add a market is just simply click add and then enter in your zip code. Okay, so we'll go ahead and save that guy. Thank you for giving me Covington candy. We're going to go ahead and save that and close this out. Now, when I go back home, and I'm going to stick to my Baton Rouge area because I have a subject property in mind that I want to show you. First off, in Baton Rouge, in the last 10 days, 151 properties have come on the market, 44 for lease. We do have rental properties in RPR. Anytime you're curious about a property, you can click on the little bubble and it will show you that this condo is $13.95 a month. 216 properties have had a price change. 190 properties went pending. 102 closed. And then you have 6 distressed properties that have come on the market in the last 10 days. So we could click on any one of these and see that indeed this property is in some type of a foreclosure status. So the reason I'd like to take you to My Markets is because this is another opportunity for you to create reports. So let's start on a subject property. Remember, this is only the inventory in the last 10 days. So there's my 15131 Championship Drive. Pretty new on the market, just came on the market about 7 days ago for $820. Active date is March 13th, Friday the 13th. Now look at this property. When I pick up this active listing, there's so much here to unpack. First off, check out the list price. It's $820. The RVM, the Realtors Valuation Model, our version of an estimate of value is at $828. So right out of the gate, if my buyer is excited about this property and they want to come in and offer, I don't know, $775, I'm taking them right to this RVM and saying, look, guys, this property is already priced below market value. So always start there. The reason I pulled up this property, though, is I wanted to show you from a subject property that you will have the ability on the top right of our screen to create reports. So let's go ahead and create one. When I click on create report, you'll notice I could create a buyer, a seller, a property template. There's my property flyer that I showed you earlier that I posted to social media. There's my school report. Let's go ahead and just do a quick property template. We'll click on property. My address auto-populated for me. Now I could change the title. Maybe I want to change the title to a client's name. I can make my title my own. I click on continue. Now with every one of our reports, this is going to be the format. Over to the left, what you see on the left is your customization. Kind of to the right, the customization is going to control all of the data that you're seeing here. And then the finished product is over to the right. So remember, let me zoom out a little bit so you can see. Remember, this is our cover letter. And if you don't have the broker's logo, the RPR logo will appear. So it automatically defaulted to the listing photo, which is good news for me. So if I'm sharing this report with a client, I don't have to do a whole lot of work here. My contact information is uploaded. The listing photo is there. Now, when we click customize over to the left, if you do not want our cover page, you just unselect it. Super. And it's gone. And you can see it's going to, in real time, start to change. And I want to remind everybody with every one of those reports, all 9, They're all going to be laid out the same way. Customization is on the left, and every one of these reports is formatted where you can customize it the way you want it to appear. Okay, let's talk about the cover page. If I don't like this photo, maybe I want to picture the front door, I can change the cover letter photo. If I'm going on a listing appointment, I can click on photos down at the bottom and I can add my own photo. So if you're going on a listing appointment and you're bringing a CMA, please make sure that on the cover page, it's not a Google Street image. Make sure you do a drive-by, grab a photo on your mobile, upload it, and make that your cover letter. Okay, so customization for our property report. You have property summary. If I click this drop down arrow, all of these drop down arrows are going to take me to additional data. Click the drop down arrow, and then I get to decide what do I want to include in this property report. Maybe I just want the map and the price. I haven't even done a CMA yet, so it's not going to do me any good to include a CMA in this property report. So my goal here is to show you that with every one of these tabs, you've got a drop down arrow and that gives you additional options. So I maybe don't want to include all 50 photos. I can select the photos that I want, clear, or I could just pick and choose the photos that I want. Okay, maps, refined value, that's something for a different class. Our net sheet, school data. Look at that. When I clicked on school data, there's Magnolia Woods Elementary. There's Westdale Middle School. And then as I scroll down, there's Terra High School. And it's not just giving me the school rating, it's also giving me SAT scores and ACT scores. So it can have an impact. And if you don't want to include school details, all you have to do is unselect it and look at my report. It's kicked out of there. The other thing you can do with your reports is you can reorder. So let's say, for instance, you want the neighborhood data down here. First, click on the drop down arrow, decide what neighborhood information you want to include. Maybe you want the people. You've got all kinds of different options here. Maybe you want to unselect something that you don't want to include in your report. Unselect it and it's gone. So select your options using your little drop down arrow, and then you can decide even further how you want to share this info. So if I want to put the market trend data all the way at the top, just under my property summary or property information, there it is. There's the market trend data for Baton Rouge. Remember that chart that I posted earlier to social media? I'm going to show you how I created that. Okay, so we've customized, we've rearranged, we've selected some data that we want. We've looked at the cover page. We're happy with our photo. Now you could add custom pages. If you have a resume, if you have client testimonials, or maybe you run an AI script in RPR, you can upload up to 5 custom pages. Please don't forget to include client testimonials, recent sales activity, and your resume. It's all important when you're presenting these reports to a client. Okay, any notes that you had added to the property, you would see those here. Let's go back to our customization, and let's say we're all set. We're ready to go with this report. On the top of our blue bar, you have a save option. If I click save, I can save it as a draft, or I can save it as a template. Remember, if I always want my property reports to include the data that I just selected, then now would be a great time to save it as a template, or I can just save it as a draft. The other option I have is my share button. Every report has these options. Your dynamic link, you can email, or you could post directly to social. If I click on share to social, look at how fast. There's my championship drive report ready to go to Facebook, LinkedIn, or X. Now you're not seeing Instagram. You're not seeing some of the other social media platforms. So for that, you have options. You could either create this report from the mobile app, or you could grab the link and post it wherever you would like. So let's copy this link, take it on over to Facebook, say what's on my mind. I'm going to copy and paste the link, and then I'm going to post. And just like that, I created a property report with a link that I could go ahead and share anywhere I like, social media, your website, your blogs. Or I can download this and print it and use it as part of my direct mail campaign. Or when I'm showing the house, maybe I go ahead and have this saved on my mobile app, and then I do a quick share. There's the property information, some property facts, all of those market trends that we talked about, public record data. There's my market trends. And then all of these photos, maybe 50 is just too many. So you can kind of pick and choose the photos that you want to include. Okay, so now we ended up with one report and we shared that through a link. And remember, this link will auto refresh every 48 hours. Okay, let's get out of here. And I am going to pause and I'm going to check in and see how we're doing out there.
I think so far so good. I did turn off the chat so that we can encourage more Q&A. That way everyone can see the questions being answered as we go along. I think Lisa has her hand raised, but I'm not sure if she has a question that might still be in topic with where you're at.
Yeah, sorry, Lisa, if you have a question, send it to the gentlemen that are backing me up here in the Q&A. We can't really hear you, unfortunately, but we do want to know your question, so send that to us. Okay, so all I really just started off looking at the reports. We looked at all of the different report templates. I encourage you to preview under RPR templates. Now, if I jump over to my reports, guess what's going to happen? There's my property report for Championship Drive. So at any time, if I want to go back and look at that report, I have an edit option over to the right. From here, I could edit, download, I can access the link. So remember, at the time that you're generating the reports, you still have all of these same functions, but you can also go back to them after as long as you have saved your report. So I could download this guy, I could copy the link, or again, I could share it to social media. Okay, so that's one way. Now remember, whenever we're looking at a subject property and we grab this beautiful listing on Championship Drive, I viewed the full details, and just above, over to the right, is where I could create all of these different report options. So what do you say we do one more? Let's go in and create our property flyer. From here, we click Property Flyer, click on Continue. Same format over to the left. Because this is a one-page flyer, your customization options are a little bit less, because the goal here is to just get the word out that we've got a new listing and we want to blast this out to social media. So first thing we customize is the cover page. There's your primary image. I could view all, and maybe I want this to be the cover page. That's not a problem. I can do that. I'm going to leave it to the beautiful exterior. And then in order to change the photos that you're seeing on your screen, we need to go back and we need to go down to additional property information. I select property images, view all, and then I clear them. I clear them all out because RPR is kind of thinking, oh, maybe we want 3 pictures of the vacant interior. I may not want that. So I'm going to clear that out. And then I'm going to click on view more. And I'm going to pick the photos that I want to appear on my property flyer. So I've already got my cover letter, my cover photos set. And let's scroll through here and see. We've got a gorgeous kitchen. So we'll add that. And look at that flyer. Is uploading real time. I scroll down. I see a nice closet with some nice built-ins. You betcha. Our primary bathroom, we'll click on that guy. There it is down there. And then as I scroll down, I can access 2 more photos. So maybe we'll throw a nice picture in of the backyard. And then the realtor did a nice job of a little community photo. So just like that, I've created a property flyer for this subject property. If I'm the listing agent, this is the first thing I'm going to blast out to social media. And again, all of our reports, save, share, download. If I save it as a draft, share. If I want to copy this link, send it on to social, I'll take it back on up to Facebook, copy and paste, and there we go. There's my one-page flyer. And remember, guys, you can access these from the mobile. So don't waste money on paper and ink. Share them digitally. It'll save you a lot of time and a lot of money. So there's my one-page flyer for this beautiful property with all 5 photos that I selected. So like I said, you guys get to completely control the data and what you share to your clients. Now let's go back to our championship. I want to show you one more thing while we're here. Any questions, Umberto or Jack, before I show some market trend info?
Not yet. I did answer a question about the prospecting feature, but I gave them the steps to get there. But so far, so good. I think we are good to move on.
Okay, perfect. So I did a class in Pittsburgh this morning and they wanted geographic farming. You have 2,000 mailing labels that you can access every month in RPR, and we show you how to build a geographic farm list, not only for sellers, but also for buyers. We look at those leases and we look at when they were leased out, and we create a geographic farm list trying to get those tenants and convert them to become buyers. Okay, we're on a subject property. We already love this property. I think it's beautiful. Every property in RPR is going to have this blue bar. You can look at the map. Remember, we talked about the map. Anytime we're on a map, there's your geographies, and then you have all of these map tools to the right. We're going to stick with our market trends, though. I want to talk to you about what's going on in 70810. You can see there's my month supply of inventory. It is a seller's market, but it's kind of creeping over to a more balanced market. My sold to list price percentage is 98.6. The median days on market is 34, and the median sold price is 368,139. Okay, so this entire chart you can post. Take a one-click share button up at the top. You can post this directly to Facebook, X, LinkedIn, or for me, truly, the easiest way to get this chart to social media or to my website is to click more, save it as a JPEG. It's going to download, and watch how quickly I make this happen. And the reason I do it this way instead of the one-click share button, what's on my mind? Market trends is on my mind. Sometimes Facebook, when you post directly from one site to Facebook, it can take a little bit of time. They screen it. But if I'm posting a picture, look at how fast I just got the market trends for Baton Rouge uploaded to my social media platform. Okay, so remember, whenever we're looking at a property information detail page, historical info, map, there's our market trends. Now, whenever we're looking at market trends, guys, this is huge. Over to the right from our market trends is our script writing tool. This is where you will access all of the AI tools. So let me show you. We're going to click on a quick script. When I click on script writer, you'll notice it says Market Trends AI Scriptwriter, because the goal of the script is to educate your audience, whether you're working with buyers or sellers, distressed sellers. You are trying to educate this audience as to what's happening in that market. What does the market trend mean if you're trying to buy a home in that zip code? So let's go ahead. We have a few different tone options. I tend to like to be real friendly. You select, excuse me, excuse me. You select your buyers, and then you have 6 action items: market trends article, social media card that I showed you earlier. You could create a PowerPoint presentation, a video, an email, or a video script. So I'm going to do 2 things. I'm going to show you a quick article. If you want to use this for direct mail, this is not technically our report. However, you can generate these articles and include them in your reports. Remember, you upload them as a PDF. So we'll go ahead, we choose our article style, and remember, under all of these action items will lead you to multiple options. So I'm going to go ahead and select my article, and then maybe I like a good myth versus fact. Why not? You have BuzzFeed, a Q&A interview, a newsletter note. I'm going to go, you know what? No, I'm going to go BuzzFeed. Let's go ahead and generate the content, because I think the BuzzFeed is probably my favorite thing to use for both online and direct mail. Now, once this generates, all I have to do is copy and paste it to my website or save it as a PDF, and I can include it in my reports. So look at that. The top 5 things to know about Baton Rouge. Now remember, I selected a buyer. So this script is all kind of designed to address what the market trends means to buyers. It's also including market trend data, and it's combining some of the local points of interest. Discover the scenic beauty of the Blue Bonnet Swamp Nature Center right in Baton Rouge. Sounds lovely. With 77 new listings available and a median list price of $425, there's a range of options to explore. Take a stroll through the Mall of Louisiana, a local shopping hub. Now, you can include or exclude any of this information, but I just wanted to show you how easy it was to generate a script. We can export it to a PDF. That's how we would get it into a report. Or I could copy and paste the whole thing, take this bad boy back on up to my social media platform, copy and paste, and there's my script. Look at that. Top 5 things to know about Baton Rouge as of February. I post. Now, the reason I like to show that is because from your market trends, there's so many different options in terms of business development. Not only can you grab that newsletter, but when we are on our market trends and we're looking at create script, let's do one more, why don't we? We'll create a social media card. Again, pick your tone, select your audience. Maybe we'll do both sellers and buyers. And then when we click social media card, guys, watch the options that you're going to get. Selecting the background, and then you have all of these different options that you can create. And with every one of these templates, the market trend data auto-populated. So all you have to do is kind of scroll through, figure out which best represents your personality, your vibe. Automatically, the market trend data populates. All you have to do is get this out there, whether it's to your website or to social. Now, the other cool thing you can do from the market trend scriptwriter is share it with a caption. So if I click on share with caption, it's going to generate up to 5 different captions. So now I've given you so many different things that you can share. You've got your postcard template, view more captions. Baton Rouge market is buzzing with a 3.81 month supply of inventory and a steady flow of new listings. Timing is key. Emojis, hashtags. I can select any one of these captions and I can post it. Just copy the caption, take it back on up to social. What's on my mind? Louisiana's on my mind. And then I post. So I just created a quick caption. The other thing I can do with that caption is I can add it to my story. Just click on create a text story, copy and paste, and there it goes. And then I go down to the left and I share it. So you've got so many possibilities here, guys. Let's go back to our championship. When I save and share this guy, it's going to give me my postcard and it's going to save that for me in my media library, or I have a QR code. So if I go to my media library down on the bottom, there's my social media card for Baton Rouge. I download it, pull it on up, and there it is. Looking good, right? All I have to do now is copy and paste. Am I going too fast, Umberto? Yell at me if I am. If anybody needs me to step back, I certainly will be happy to do that. So I want to try to pack as much in as I can and show you all of the different opportunities that you have for business development. Reports are a great resource for educating your clients, but you also have all of these really cool AI tools. And then, of course, you've got your newsletters and your market trends. Okay, let's go back to our subject property. We were on market trends. The only way you're going to find your scriptwriter tool is from the market trends. And remember this, you can research market trends nationwide. We're going to jump on over to our neighborhood tab. Now, when we look at the neighborhood data from a subject property, you're going to get the market trends. Now, you can also change the property type over to the right. Change the property type to single family homes, get rid of the condos, apply it to all charts, and really not a whole lot changed. But this is where at the very beginning of class, I showed you the neighborhood report data. When I click on housing, this is going to show me that 33% rental rate in that zip code. This is an excellent zip code if you are looking to be a hyper-local market expert for buyers. 33% of the folks that live there are renting. We need to get them out of renting and get them into home ownership. So we can also analyze the people. I mentioned earlier in our neighborhood report, you're going to see the education levels, the population of children by age group, lots and lots of middle schoolers, population of adults by age group, households with children. The economy and the quality of life is all included in my neighborhood report. Now, in order to package all of this data into a report, I'll bet you can guess that we need to go up to the top right, click on Create Report, and it's going to take me to either the neighborhood or the market trends or market activity template. I'm going to click on Neighborhood. It already defaulted. This is why I don't create reports from the top. I create reports from a geography or a property. I can click on Continue. And guess what? There's my exact same formatting. Over to the left, my customization. If I click on housing, and maybe I see here, I don't want condos and townhouses. I change it to single family. I apply it to all the elements. You go through the steps of picking out the data that you want to include. And then you can even get real specific in terms of the time frame. And it's going to show you new listings as of February and the median list price of 4.25. Okay, so remember, format is the same. Customization controls all of this data. You can rearrange this if you want to go ahead and put the quality of life right up after housing. You can drag and drop. If you want to add your own photos, there's your cover photo. The default will always be the map or a listing photo or a Google Street photo if it's off market. So remember, you always have the option to upload your own photo. And how you do that is you go down here to photos, click on photos, and then add whatever photos you like. I think I had saved our Baton Rouge picture there, and I just uploaded. And you can do this from the mobile app as well. Okay, so I'm going to unselect that, go back to customization, and now I'm going to pause and just check in with the guys. We've got 6 minutes left. Are there any other questions I can answer before we move on?
I don't think. I think we're kind of nailing it in the chat in the Q&A. Thank you, Jack, for supporting. But so far, so good. I think if anything, everyone's curious about the replay that they'll receive afterward.
Yeah, I know. I know. I am from New England, guys, and I get excited and I have so much to talk about. So if I went fast for you, remember there is a recording and it will be sent out. And I'm also going to show you where you can access all of our previous recordings on our Learning Center. So let's finish this neighborhood report one more time. And the reason we don't go and create reports for every single one of these is because we would be here for the next 6 hours. So we kind of pick and choose a few different reports. Just remember the formatting is always the same. If you want to add your own cover page, click on cover page or customize and unselect your cover page. And then you can add your own custom pages. So remember recently I did a script. I created that little newsletter. If I add a page here, let's see if I can find that general article. Hope it's the right one. There it is. There's my top 5 things to know about 70810. So I created this nice little article from my script writing tool, my AI script writing tool. And then once I was in my reports, I went to custom pages and I uploaded it. This is where you would add your resume or client testimonials. And then, of course, once you're done, save, share, or download. We'll save this guy as a template. It's going to ask me for the name. I'm just going to go with Baton Rouge. So every time I'm doing a neighborhood report, that template is saved for me. Of course, we always have our share button with the link, the email. I would always recommend that you download an email and attach it from your own email. Sometimes when you email from our platform, it can get stuck in spam. So your best course of action here, download the report and then save it as a PDF and use it as part of your email or drip campaign. So we did a lot today. We talked a lot about online marketing, but I really want you guys to get in the habit of thinking of these reports. Oh, I got rid of my cover letter, so it's gone. There's my housing stats. There's my market trends. All of this great neighborhood data is included, even commute time, temperatures. And again, this may be overkill. Maybe you don't need that. Then you just unselect it from your report. Look at this. You guys are getting no snow up there. Okay. So that's how we would create a neighborhood report. Let's go back to my customization. I liked my cover page. I forgot to reinstall it. So there it is. It's back. Okay, I have time for one more report. Is there anything somebody would like me to run before we wrap things up today? I did want to do a quick search for you. So let's start there while you guys are thinking about the report you'd like. My friend Candy gave me Covington. So in order to do a search in RPR, click on your location. She gave me 70433. I type in my location. Over to the right, I look at for sale, for lease, or I could go off market. I could look at the public records database, and this is where we build our geographic farm list. But I'm going to look for a buyer, single family, between 400,000 and 600,000. I'm not going to enter in bedrooms and baths, but I do have more filters as an option. So I found 40 active listings between 4 and 600,000 in that zip code. If I update and search, whenever I'm on my search results, I have 6 options over to the right. I'm looking at these properties on the map. I could look at them on a nice side-by-side view. Look at how beautifully laid out that is. I have a nice list view. I can see all of these properties on a list view, and then I could go ahead and give it a heart, and that heart will save it for me. Let's take a look. Or I could create a report. So if I click on create report, it doesn't know exactly what property I want. So it's going to give me market trends, market activity, or a neighborhood report. If I click, and I really did pick a property that's almost impossible for me to say, but I liked it. I thought it was such a pretty home. List price is $579, valuation at $584. What am I looking at here with this property? It's new on the market, just came on the market on the 16th. There's your market trends. There's your neighborhood data. There's your create report option. So you can see there's multi-layers to this. All of these reports are accessible. If you only see a market trends or a market activity or a neighborhood, that just means we're not looking at reports from a property. What a beautiful property. I love it. Okay, so that's it for me. I do not. Anybody want to tell me how to say that word? Go for it. But I thought it was a pretty house, so I picked it for you.
It's
Okay, guys.
Chifuncta.
What did you say, Candy?
Chifuncta.
Chifuncta. That is not
That's
what I
it.
would have come up with, but good. Thank you. I love your beautiful state. Where did I used to spend a lot of time? I can't remember. Well, Bourbon Street, I guess. That's always a good time. But yeah, there's another little parish that we used to go up and I'm drawing a blank now. But anyway, I love your state. I love visiting. I love all of the fun, delicious food that you guys have up there. All right, we're at the top of the hour. So if there's no other questions, thoughts, or anything else I can show, I'm going to let you guys get on with your weekend. Are we good, Candy?
I think we're great, Janelle. We cannot thank you enough for your expertise. It's amazing the depth of information through RPR. I'm can't wait to get in there and do a lot of playing. And don't forget, everybody, this will be recorded and available on the website under the membership page.
Yeah. And just remember on your homepage with the Learning Center, if you go down to view more ways to learn, you're going to get all of our previous recordings. If you're curious about how to create an AI CMA, click on CMA under topics. This is well worth your time. It is so fascinating, the AI CMA model on mobile. And then all of our live webinars. But Candy, you put this together for your great troops out there in Louisiana. So thank you so much for doing that on this Friday. I hope you all have a wonderful weekend. Shout out to Jack and Umberto for being here for me today and backing me up. I hope you guys have a great day. Thank you, everybody.
Bye, everyone.
Bye.